Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Board of County Commissioners meeting for May. Today is May 16th, it's 6 p.m. and we're going to begin our meeting. I call it to order. First off, we will hear from our EMA Director, Billy Harrell, on our egress plan.
Now, if you work in the mayor's office, we welcome our guests tonight. Our safety related items tonight, or we do have a DVD on the first floor. In case everybody have a cardiac incident tonight. Also, our handicap bathrooms, our accessible bathrooms, right outside the door right here. And we also have one on the first floor. We have two handicap bathrooms. And our other bathrooms right here in this hall on the left side, all the way down here. If we are to have a fire drill tonight or a fire, everyone is to exit towards the monument side. And we have one set of steps open. They're working on one side of the steps tonight. They're going to do some concrete work. We have one set open. We'll all exit to the back of the parking lot for accountability. Because the city fire department is not letting anybody at the front of the building, because that's where all the trucks are leaving, so they don't want people walking back and forth with the personnel on the fire.
Thank you, Director Harrell. All right, the roll call will now be had by the clerk's office. If everybody will sign into your device. We have 23 present, I believe. So we do have a quorum present this evening. Thank you for being here. Next, as we look at the agenda, I want to make one change, please. For the sake of those that our mayor is honoring tonight, I would like to make an item 7B on your agenda. And that will be a presentation from Mayor Woodby to honor the Carter County Humane Society and some very special members of it. Does anybody else have any other changes you'd like to see on the agenda? Okay, is there a motion to approve it as amended? Motion made by Mark Blevins, second by Robin McCamey. Let's vote on approval of agenda. Okay, please reveal. Okay, so the agenda is approved. We will now rise for our prayer and pledge of allegiance. I would like to ask this evening if Vice Chairman Travis Hill will please lead our pledge of allegiance, and the prayer will be led by Willie Campbell.
Heavenly Father, God, Lord, it's about our heads, Lord, just for a moment to give you honor and praise, Lord, for this day that you've given us, Lord. God, you've given us another chance to put our feet to the floor and take another breath. Lord, we praise you and give you honor for that. Lord, tonight we do pray, God, and thank you for your love, mercy, and grace that you have upon each one of us, God. Lord, thank you for that grace that we shed at Calvary that day, Lord. God, that we could have life and have life more abundantly. Lord, tonight we do pray, Lord, for this commission board, Lord. Pray for the ones that are coming on, Lord. God, that you have your anointing upon each one. Lord, there may be some here tonight, Lord, that have sickness or something in their life, God. Lord, that we don't understand or know, Lord, but we do pray, God, that you touch them in a special way, God. Lord, and have your anointing on them. Lord, we do thank you for all of our county officials. Lord, we pray, God, that you lead and guide them, Lord, with your wisdom and knowledge. Lord, when we make decisions from day to day, God, that you lead us, Lord, in your path. Lord, we ask these things in thy name. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we would like to recognize all elected and appointed officials. If you're in the room with us tonight, will you please stand so we can express our gratitude? Mayor Woodby and Superintendent Coball are in the house. All right, at this time, I'm going to ask Mayor Woodby if she will come forward and do her presentation.
Members of the Humane Society here. I'd like everyone to come up, please. This is going to be a mayoral proclamation honoring the Carter County Humane Society, Bill and Catherine Armstrong, and Bob and Penny White. Whereas it is appropriate that the county mayor should honor those community organizations and citizens who have performed with uncommon devotion and dedication to their community. And whereas the Carter County Humane Society was founded in 1982 by Bill and Catherine Armstrong to serve the citizens of Carter County. And whereas this year marks the 40th anniversary of the Carter County Humane Society. And whereas the Carter County Humane Society is an all-volunteer organization. And whereas the commission of the Carter County Humane Society is to provide spay and neuter assistance to low-income families, investigate reports of animal abuse and neglect, and foster animals until a home has been found for them. And whereas the Carter County Humane Society is funded by donations, community organizations, support from local businesses, membership dues, and the income of various fundraising events. And whereas the vision and dedication of Bill and Catherine Armstrong came together through the efforts of caring citizens who saw a need in our community and worked tirelessly to make a difference. And whereas after their time in leadership, the Armstrongs passed along the reins of leadership to this essential organization, to Bob and Penny White, so that the organization might continue to serve our community. And whereas Carter County Humane Society Director Penny White has been an active member of the organization for 38 consecutive years and was greatly involved in the overall operation of the organization even before stepping into the role of director. And whereas throughout the years, volunteers of the Carter County Humane Society have given selflessly of their time and talent, and often from their own wallets, in working to carry out the mission of the organization and serve our community. And whereas these volunteers answered calls for service not only during the day and through the work week, but all hours of the night and on holidays in order to assist community members and to find veterinary services to care for abused or injured animals. And whereas the members of the Carter County Humane Society have demonstrated to the highest degree the volunteer spirit that our community and our state is known for. And whereas in 2021, the Carter County Humane Society distributed more than 1,600 vouchers to pet owners in our community to provide them with assistance with the cost of spaying or neutering their animals. And whereas without the Carter County Humane Society and its dedicated volunteers throughout the past 40 years, our community would be a much different place. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Carter County Mayor Patty Woodby, do hereby declare that May 16th, 2022 shall be a time to honor the contributions of the Carter County Humane Society, Bill and Catherine Armstrong, and Bob and Penny White to our community. And I encourage all citizens to join me in this worthy observance.
Commission, if you will look over the meeting minutes as supplied in your packet for the April regular meeting first. We'll open the floor for a motion to approve those when you get the chance. This is for the April,
Motion to approve. Second.
motion to approve is made by Randall Jenkins, seconded by Isaiah Grindstaff. Any discussion on those minutes? Okay, let's vote on the minutes as they currently stand then for April. Yes, Robin has walked those people out. She didn't want someone to get the vote without Robin's presence in the room.
That you went after. The officer went after her.
Okay, all right, we'll just wait on Robin. Okay, let's do that. All right, reveal the vote. All right, so we use Robin as an abstention, Miller, but it still passes. Thank you very much. Now let's go to the May 6th special call meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion made by Brad Johnson,
Second.
second by Julie Gwynn. Any changes needed? Okay, let's vote to approve the minutes for May 6th. We have a few more that weren't able to be with us that night, so it still passes. It is now time for public comments. If anybody here tonight wishes to make a statement, it is a time for that. It's not a question. Dr. Bob, I skipped something. Yes, I did, okay. We need to approve batteries and bonds before I go to public comments. I think that's at least twice I've done that.
So moved.
Okay. Yes, please read the Scooch.
Carolyn Myers, Grader, Susan Bledsoe, Hannah Hamilton, Thomas Ronnie, Thurston C. Webb, Curtis Brummett, Sandra H. Davis, C. Thomas, Delvin Hauser, Cheryl O'Rourke, James Johnston, Robin Cole, and Ed Tamlin, C. Collins.
All right, good.
Okay, now that they're read, I'll take the motion to approve from Mark Levens, second by, anybody?
Second.
Second by Isaiah Grindstaff. Is there discussion that you all, is it right?
Billy Barnes is on there, she passed away.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
That's Karen.
Yes,
I believe that Billy C. Bartz is deceased.
She is. That's why I
You
didn't
didn't
read it.
read it?
I didn't read it.
Okay, then I didn't hear you.
okay, any other discussion? All right, so we have a motion and a second. We did you get the names on that? Okay, so we're ready to vote on notaries and bonds. All right, please reveal the vote. Okay, motion passes. Now, public comments. Please step to the podium. You will have 5 minutes time. State your name and your address.
My name is Kathy Anderson, 223 Roundabout Way. 37640. I was recently under the assumption that the Horseshoe Cove is not getting the broadband, and I didn't know why. We have CenturyLink, and we get like 1.2 megabytes. The service what services do you provide to us? The residents past the bridge provides at least $500,000 in tax revenue, and we get nothing from Carter County. Horseshoe Cove pays at least $50,000 in property taxes, and we get nothing. So there's other subdivisions in there in Carter County. The 8 Points Mine, they have $1 million homes, they get nothing. We get mail, and we get volunteer fire, water, electric from Johnson County. We don't provide them a dime, not a dime, and we need to know why. We don't get anything from y'all. And the state just paved the road up there to the bridge. I said, are you gonna go past the bridge? No. Oh, okay. Everything ends at the bridge in Carter County. And we pay probably the majority of the taxes in Carter County, in that Carter County area up there by the lake. We get zero. And waters for all tax-paying citizens, for those health and well-being, which we do not get from Carter County. We don't get, we don't get nothing. We can't even get broadband up there. And our internet, CenturyLink, is like 1.2 if we're lucky. And I just want to address the commissioners of what are our taxpayers? What are we paying with our tax? Zero. So we're going to investigate about how we go about changing to going to Johnson County all the way, because at least they provide us with water. Y'all don't even reimburse Carterview for anything. You know, they have to supply us with water, and it's very expensive water. So that's, I just wanted to address the commission with that. And some of the officials didn't even know Horseshoe Cove was in Carter County.
Thank you. Mary, if you don't mind, then just go ahead and say it to the commission. The microphones up here will pick it up for those at home.
Mary Harvey. I'm on Victor Drive in Carter County. Today, I'd like to ask the commission to raise your expectations of the clerk's online presence. We need to be able to see, I was happy to see today that the agenda was online. We were able to see it. Thank you for that. We need to be able to see the commission minutes in a timely manner. So the April minutes are not online right now. So if I wanted to address something here that happened in April, I wouldn't be able to unless I went down to the clerk's office and requested those minutes. And they may not be available then, because I've tried that before too. I can sit down, I can go into the office and sit down and open the book. It's there, okay? So what I would like is for the citizens to be able to see the minutes online in a timely manner. Let's see. Also, the online presence for the videos that are coming online, they're a mess right now. That needs to be addressed. It's not user-friendly. You have to scroll through. It might be in chronological order, but you do have to scroll through and find the right. It's not categorized. It's not organized. And the little video snippets are there, so visually it's hard to scan through the list to see what's available. Let's see, the latest budget committee meeting minutes are not available. So people who are interested in the budget, they can't see what happened unless they come down to the office and see it, in the office. And I'd like the commission to make a priority to have the clerk's office put the resolutions and bylaws online so they can be searched. A full online textual search of the resolutions and bylaws. And it'll make your life easier too, because you can go back and research what you need. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mary. I believe I'm correct. Somebody in the room address me if I'm not. The reason the minutes might not be online is because they're not official until we pass them here in this meeting.
They don't have to be official by state law.
They can be published before that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Julie Huntsberger, and I reside at 188 Old Milligan Highway. Betsy Bishop is a lifelong resident of that community, and she has spoken to numerous of our neighbors, and many of them couldn't be with us tonight. But they and we would like to first express our appreciation for the paving that was done on Old Milligan Highway last year. But we are also a little concerned about a small piece of road that connects what was repaved to Milligan Highway. This is about 2/10 of a piece of road, and it is in bad shape and is currently unclaimed. So we, those of us who travel it, obviously, know to avoid the potholes and the little ripples that will bounce you literally off the road into the little ditch that runs beside it. But some people who are coming through there aren't familiar, and we are concerned about the safety of that area. And it's especially dangerous when it's raining or dark. We would appreciate it if you would consider adopting this very small piece of road and repairing it. And we understand that there will be a significant cost up front to repair it. But after it is repaired, there shouldn't need to be attention given to it for many, many years. We appreciate your thoughtful consideration of this request. And that piece that's unclaimed right now is also used by Milligan University's Emmanuel Seminary students. And I believe there's a representative here from Milligan tonight who would like to address you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brent Nipper, Director of Property and Risk Management, Milligan University. Just want to follow up on the prior request and thank the commission for your consideration of this request to take over that piece of road and do some paving there. Thank Superintendent Colbaugh and his staff for their willingness to do this if it is to be approved. As you may be aware, Milligan acquired Emmanuel Christian Seminary through a merger in 2015. It's been a real blessing to the institution. We've been able to add some programs and do a lot of great things with that and really be able to help the seminary out as well and get them in a really good place. But that has increased the number of faculty, staff, students that we have traveling both to and from that campus for work and school and back and forth from our other campus on the other side of Milligan Highway as well. Obviously, safety of our faculty, staff, and students is utmost priority to us, and we agree with our neighbors, several of whom have brought this to our attention, and I just really ask that you would consider this for the good of the people living in the area and for Milligan as well. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Nipper. Anybody else would like to speak tonight, please come forward. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to item 11. Mayor Patty Woodby is coming back to honor some very special students in our community.
Paige Greer and Jonathan Green. How's it coming up? So let me tell you a little bit about both of these remarkable students that we have here tonight. Paige designed the floor plans for Hampton Volunteer Fire Department substation, and Jonathan designed the floor plans for Stony Creek's Volunteer Fire Department, the new building that they're going to be receiving. Paige is a student at Hampton High School. She's going to be graduating later this month. During her junior year as a student in the architectural drafting program at Hampton High, Paige used the skills she learned to design the new Hampton Volunteer Fire Department substation. She has been accepted into the University of Tennessee architecture program, where she plans to continue her education. She's a 3-time Tennessee State Architectural Drafting Champion, winning both the Skills USA and Technology Student Association competitions. This evening, we're going to honor her for her service to our community, as well as her dedication and hard work in pursuing her educational goals. So Paige, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of myself and the Carter County Commission for all your hard work, and I wish you the best of luck. And as everybody knows, this month, he graduated Northeast State Community College in his Associate of Applied Science degree. He is named the most outstanding engineering design student for his graduating class. While at Hampton High School, he studied an architectural drafting program, and he continued his career pathway at Northeast State. During his studies at Northeast State, Jonathan used the skills he learned to design the new Stony Creek Volunteer Fire Department substation. This evening, we are honoring him for the same thing, for his service to his community, as well as his dedication and hard work in pursuing his educational goals.
Thank you, students. We wish you the best. Thank you, Mayor Woodby, for bringing that to our attention. Attorney Martin, will you please address the next item, which is consideration of adding Juneteenth as a county holiday?
Sure. When I saw this come about, or proposal, I did some research on my own. My opinion is, I don't believe at this time that the county commission has the legal authority to approve Juneteenth as a paid county holiday. It is a federal holiday. Of course, we have other federal holidays that the county doesn't celebrate. But essentially, the statute for Tennessee lists the approved holidays for the state. That is the approved holidays that the county legislative bodies are supposed to use. And there's an AG opinion from years ago that says we cannot declare holidays that aren't on that list. Juneteenth came before the legislature this year. It was introduced by Bill Lee. It did not pass. It is designated as a day of celebration or something like that for Tennessee, but it is not a state-approved holiday. So it may be next year, but right now it is not. And I do know that other counties have done this. So all I can tell you is I don't believe we have the legal authority to do it.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Attorney Martin? Yes, Mr. Von Cannon.
This was a holiday in part of the world based on, I think, Mexico's independence from Spain. And I don't know why there wouldn't be a better day than that one.
I'm not aware of it having anything to do with Mexico or Spain.
What was it then?
Juneteenth is the final day that the Emancipation Proclamation was declared in Texas or somewhere. I mean, that's essentially what it is. Right, but state by state, some states have approved it, some haven't. Tennessee has not. So that's where we stand right now.
Yeah, I remember that.
Any other comments? So that means our May full session meeting will be on the regular day, June 20th. That's a Monday, the third Monday like always. Yes, June 20th, next full commission meeting. Okay, Mayor Patty Whitby, you're getting your exercise tonight.
Got a couple of utility board appointments that I need to recommend to the commission. First utility board, I need to recommend David Bowers. Josh, we need a motion on that?
It's just your appointment.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a vote.
And then Siam Utility District, we're gonna put Mike McKinney on the board, for the Siam Utility District. And that's really all I have, other than to let the commission know that, Governor Lee has reached out to me to fill a vacancy that's appointed by him to the local planning advisory committee for the state. That's one of 7 positions. That is, I'll be sitting on that for him. He has reached out to me for that. Put me on there July 1st. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. That's all I've got. If you've got any questions for me. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mayor Whitby, on your appointment. That's quite an honor. Okay, we will now go into a time of committee reports, and as always, we will hear from the budget committee first.
All right, guys, one thing to change, number 2 on the list down through there, approval of the outside agencies. We're gonna hold off on that one for the moment. Kind of close on that. We're kind of close on getting the budget numbers in and making sure that we can hit everything, be undue pain. So we'll go from the top. Put in the form of a motion to approve funds for the first utility district, up to $15,000 for Dana Bridge and up to $60,000 for the Blevins Hollow Bridge for water line replacements, funds to come from the ARP funds.
A motion made by Aaron Frazier, seconded by Mark Blevins. Aaron, will you, please let the commission know, as you let me know, why this is coming before us, and not waiting until we vote on the totality of the ARP funds?
That's an extraordinarily good question. Main reason is because of timing. They need to get these bridges removed and replaced as quickly as possible. And this is just, the state is doing, I think it's the state or is it? Right.
It's under contract with Seminary, and they're supposed to start work today.
Yeah, so this is just to replace the water lines that go along the sides of those bridges. One is significantly more expensive because of the approach that the line has to take, so.
Any other commissioners have questions?
And I would also like to point out, this was on Dr. Acuff's list of ARP funds to come through. So this is one that the Health and Welfare Committee has already vetted.
Okay, let's vote on it. Reveal the vote, please.
Thank you guys very much. Skipping over number 2, moving on. Motion to set aside excess revenues and unexpended funds for the animal shelter budget each year into a reserve account designated for use by the animal shelter as approved by the Budget Committee and County Commission upon request, including to aid in the transition of the shelter to a 501c3 organization. Reserve account to be set at a limit of $250,000.
Second by Isaiah Grindstaff.
Many people thought that this was something that we'd already done, but it was put into the contract with the city initially, and we thought that a motion had been made on it prior, but we were unable to locate it in the minutes, so we're going through and hitting it a second time.
No, it is being set aside just for a 501c3.
These funds can be used for capital projects as well that they may have come up between now and then, replacing an air conditioner, water line, anything like that. But that's the goal of this fund. And it is also a separate fund from, it's just their revenues and their unexpended funds year over year. This does not affect any donations that they receive.
This is on top of what we will set them in our budget, correct?
Correct. Basically, what would happen is at the end of the year, their funds would normally roll back into the unassigned fund balance, into the fund balance for the county. This way, it's going to be going off into its own reserve account for them to be able to use in the upcoming years. Basically, if they do transition to a 501c3, we would donate this money to that organization at that time to help ease things in or whatever.
This is especially just for the animal shelter.
Correct. Correct.
And in our budget, if we donate them, say, we said on their budget, say we give them 254,000, that'd be a total of 500,000 that they're getting.
We're actually not giving them any new funds. This is just at the end of the fiscal year. The revenues and stuff that they've generated would go into that account, or as the fiscal year is going on, the revenues would go into that reserve account. And then at the end of the fiscal year, unexpended funds would roll over into that account as well. And it's capped at $250,000. So anything above that would go back into the unassigned fund balance.
But what I'm saying is, I know that. But what I'm saying is, if we give them another 250,000 at the budget, that still won't be putting them at a total of $500,000.
Not exactly. Think of it more like the unassigned fund balance for the landfill or the highway department is really what it is. It still has to come through budget for a budget amendment to move it into the appropriate line item for them to expend it. It still has to come in front of the full commission.
So I have to come back in front of the full commission before they use that money.
Correct. Any other questions?
Okay, let's vote on it. Reveal the vote.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Aaron, excuse me for interrupting. I know on the video, they hear very well, I'm told, but Charlie Buchanan is having trouble hearing.
Oh, sorry.
Is it possible to use maybe Audra's mic? Will it reach over there where you could use it?
No. Oh, maybe.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind to use that, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Can you hear me now, Charlie? You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right, number 4, motion from the floor to restore the county's distribution of local option sales tax proceeds that existed as of June 30th, 2021 pursuant to state law, which requires that 50% of all OST, local option sales tax proceeds, are divided among the school systems within Carter County pursuant to the appropriate average daily attendance calculations, with the remaining 50% of proceeds retained by the county for the school capital projects fund.
Second.
Second by Kelly Collins. Any discussion? Yes, Gary Bailey.
When you're sitting there doing that, when the vote went out to the general public, that's not the half-cent thing, is it? When they voted years ago?
Yes, it is.
2008.
2008.
When that was voted on the general public, is that what was stated then? Because you had people in the county that voted on that. I wanted to go to capital projects, but the vote from the people, that was the resolution, was to go to capital projects. And I believe it only stated capital projects. I mean, before we start changing something half and half, do we have the power to change something that the actual citizens voted at the ballot box?
Let Attorney Harden intervene. This was something that he had brought to us. I'm a little over.
I'm not understanding. What part are you talking about going to capital projects, the 50%?
Yeah. Was that the resolution that the people in 2008, when they done that, did it say 50% or did it say all? I mean, understanding that resolution was a vote that people went to the ballot box and voted. Did it state 50-50, or was that because,
Yes, sir. The referendum that was approved in the county in 2008 was to add 50 cents to the local option sales tax. So that maxed out the county at 2.75, with the state total together 9.75. That's the maximum you can have in Tennessee. So the referendum that was approved in 2008 was to add that 50 cents to go towards school capital projects. That's what it was for. But by state law, any sales tax, the state portion, the local option portion, whatever, the local option portion of those sales tax has to go 50% to schools for current operation and maintenance, all the schools operating in Carter County, based on average daily attendance. That's the state law. The remaining half, or 50% of that extra 50 cents, the county can use for whatever it wants to, but the referendum was approved to put it towards school capital projects. So that's what we're saying. That happened all the way up until July of last year, when it came on the floor, if you remember, and the vote was to keep that entire 50-cent increase in sales tax, but we cannot do that. That was a mistake.
what I'm asking is, if the general public voted that, wouldn't, for us to change that, would the general public on the ballot box have to change it? How would we have the power to override what they voted for?
You're not overriding anything that they voted for. We're following state law.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, let's vote. Reveal. Motion passes.
All right, moving on to the fun stuff. Motion to approve Carter County Fund County Fund 101 Budget Amendment Number 11, items 1 through 17, for a total of $276,586.61, with $72,403 and a penny coming from the fund balance and $55,669.99 being returned to the unassigned fund balance.
Second by Ross Garland. Discussion needed? Let's vote. Reveal.
Thank you, guys. Number 6, motion to approve County Fund 101 Budget Amendment Number 11A for a total of $2,000 of $2,000 funds within the mayor's budget.
Second by Mark Levens. Discussion? Vote. Reveal.
Thank you, guys. Moving on to number 7, motion to approve Solid Waste Fund 116 Budget Amendment Number 4 for $18,500 for completion of the recycle center.
Second.
Second by Sandra Kohler. Discussion? Please vote.
It should get, it should.
All right, please show us.
Thank you, guys. Moving on, motion to approve Highway Fund Number 131 Budget Amendment Number 6 for a total of $802,000 with nothing coming from fund balance.
Is that Willie Campbell?
Yes, it was.
Okay, second by Willie Campbell. Any questions? Okay, let's vote.
Oh. Wish,
Okay, show us what you got, man.
but yeah.
Thank you, guys. Number 9, a motion to approve General Fund Number 141 Budget Amendment Number 11, items 1 through 8 for a total of $720,414.76 with nothing coming from the unassigned fund balance.
Second by Jerry Prophet. All right, let's vote.
Thanks. Motion to approve School Federal Projects Fund number 142, budget amendment number 11, items 1 through 6, for a total of $119,632.42, with $4,536.66 being returned to the unassigned fund balance.
Second by Willie Campbell. Any discussion? Please vote.
Touch that button, look what it does.
Just have
We
it
get
in planning.
put in
motion.
something for Hannibal.
All right, I think we got it. Show it. All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Motion to approve Food Service Fund number 143, budget amendment number 2, item 1, for a total of $8,400 with nothing coming from unassigned fund balance.
Second by, I heard a lady over here. Was it Julie or Nancy? Julie Nguyen is the second on this motion. Any discussion needed? Please vote. Please show us.
Thanks, guys. Next, motion to approve Head Start Fund number 145, budget amendment number 7, items 1 and 2, for a total of $19,440.30, with nothing coming from unassigned fund balance.
Second by Nancy Brown. Any questions? All right, we're voting. Please reveal.
Thank you. Motion to approve Education Capital Projects Fund number 177, budget amendment number 3, item number 1, for a total of $100,000, with $100,000 being returned to the unassigned fund balance.
Is that Gary Profit for the second? Okay, let's vote. Reveal. Motion passed.
Thank you, guys. Motion to approve monetary donations to the animal shelter in the amount of $2,198, and monetary donations to the Sheriff's Department in the amount of $1,400. The $1,400 was for vests for the officers, the couple officers.
Second by Sandra Color. Any discussion? All right, please vote. Reveal.
That's all I have. We'll have more from nominating and budget committee next month. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Karen Fraser. Okay. We will hear from the Building and Grounds Committee next. You're already on your way up here, Brad. You want me to change the order?
Don't go ahead, Grady.
Okay,
Ours will just be really quick if Josh wants to just kind of explain it.
okay.
Simply an updated lease agreement with the Roman Mountain Volunteer Fire Department, the one that we had, I think, ran out 4 years ago with their plans and things. We just needed to have an updated lease agreement, so that's all it is. Hopefully everybody heard me.
Second.
Okay. So Isaiah, are you making the motion?
Yes, I'll make the motion.
Okay, Isaiah Grindstaff on the motion, second by Nancy Brown. Any questions? All right, let's vote on the contract for the lease in Rock Mountain Volunteer Fire Department. Please reveal. All right, that motion has passed. The lease is approved. Now we will hear from Chairman of the Financial Management Committee, Brad Johnson.
Madam Chair, but once I get in motion, the board don't change. The Financial Management Committee has forwarded 3 separate motions on parcels that you'll notice in your packet. In reference to those, if you look into the monthly minutes of the financial management, you will find the existing and the proposed on item number 2. Inside your, you should find a copy of the employee handbook. Also, if you're financial management, you'll find the motion that the full policy. And that's what that's our guidelines to the finance department. Those are directed by the floor. The authority and cut off the dates on the front and the rear of the so I'll place in motion to approve the employee bonus policy.
Second.
Second by Mark Tester. Any questions on that employee bonus policy as written? Okay, let's vote on that policy.
Just to make clear, this is just the policy, this is no bonus given. I just want to make that clear.
Policy to follow for when bonuses are given.
So
I just want to make that clear for some people.
Okay, please reveal the vote. Okay, motion passes.
Next one is placed in the form of a motion to approve the changes to the purchasing and bid policy. That will be in the rear of the financial management committee room by committee minutes. Page 2 is the proposed, page 3 is the prior. It's just a matter of who's going to be writing the RFP. But anything over 5.
second.
Second by Mark Tester. Any questions on this? It's just a phrase change found by the finance department themselves to prevent us from having to spend money on RFPs that are already in existence. So if there's any questions, yes, everybody.
That exempts the highway department, right? Because they do that with the state.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, let's vote on the changes to the purchasing and bid policy. All right, let's see the vote. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you very much. Last item, the motion to approve revised Carter County Employee Handbook, the version 11, dated 2022. This was done by our county attorney, reviewed. All this was voted unanimous in the financial management.
Second.
Second by Nancy Brown. Any discussion?
I'm going to go back to the original what it was. Anything changed a whole lot?
No, essentially, the legal references were updated, the statutes contained within it were updated. All the additional policies that have been added since the last version by the full commission. So nothing's going in it that isn't an updated state law or an updated policy that the full commission's already approved.
Thank you, Attorney Harmon. Does anyone else have a question? Yes, Charlie Buchanan.
I hope you're talking about the 2 cents. Sorry. When you get to this, I want to say something.
That's highway committee.
Yes. We're one vote away, Mr. Buchanan. All right, if there's no other questions on this one, let's vote on the county employee handbook. All right, please show us the vote. Motion passes, Chairman Johnson.
Thank you very much.
Everyone will now hear from the Highway Committee, Chairman Paul Levin.
It's over out there, what's left except what we got hurt, these people tonight. The old Milligan Highway, it's very fast, so I'm gonna put it before the motion that we adopt. 2 mile section, 0.2 mile section of the old Milligan Highway. And that we also approve $25,000 in additional funding for Rogers Station.
Second by Nancy Brown. Any discussion needed? Yes, Charlie Von Cannon.
This drawing has a situation on the right-hand side, Old Boot Campbell Road. Anybody that knows anything about Milligan knows that it is not Old Boot Campbell Road. It's One Boot Campbell Road. And One Boot Campbell worked for me years ago, and all the people in his section wore knee-high rubber boots. As a daily prank was to do something, and so somebody stole or misplaced one of Mr. Campbell's boots. So the rest of his life, he was known as One Boot Campbell. And the road was named for it, One Boot.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Question is where the funds coming from?
From additional funding. That's a good question.
I believe all we voted on was to adopt the road. I don't know where.
All we voted on that in the 25,000. Yes, sir. Do you remember, Kelly, where we?
Afraid to say, I'm assuming it was fund balance, but that's what I was.
Yeah, I would assume that.
Highway or county? You get into trouble when you. Highway or county fund?
Yes, afraid to say.
I'm afraid to say.
You remember, Josh, you were.
You all, the committee didn't say, I think Mr. Caldwell's request was for the county to give him additional funding. So I would assume that meant the unassigned fund balance of the county. For whatever reason, it didn't come before budget this month. But the committee had requested that money for the immediate repair of the road based on the folks you've heard tonight. We'll talk about the condition.
Let's back up and we'll do this. Hang on, our career.
According to the minutes, it says $25,000 out of the general fund.
General fund, okay.
Thank you, Aaron Frazier. Ms. Culler, did you still have a question?
No, I'm just going to clarify that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Madam Chair, this is something I just want to bring up. That I don't know if you all went through it in committee or not. That 0.2 of a mile involves prior or existing state right-of-ways. Has anybody looked on the engineer maps of the state and all of them to see if that 0.2 of a mile is county property?
I did look into that at the request of the committee, and I met with the road superintendent about it. The state acquired that property in 1968. There has never been a deed since then. Essentially, they got 1.2 acres of land and apparently worked with the county in fixing the road in that area, rerouting the road. But there's never been another deed back to the county or anybody else since 1968. So the only players involved would be Milligan College, where the state got the property from, and the state. And I think Mr. Caldwell is of the same opinion as me that the state is not going to maintain that at all, and they will be tickled to death if somebody else does.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Vice Chairman Hill.
Madam Chair, I think this motion is going to be broken into two motions. The first one being to adopt the road, second
Let's suspend the rules since this did not come before budget committee.
He is correct.
All right, then, Mr. Blevins, can I get you to withdraw your motion?
I would withdraw my motion, in the form of a motion that we adopt, this 2.2 mile section of the Old Milligan Highway.
Okay, so Nancy Brown is still our second on this, breakup of the original motion. When have you been able to catch up with this?
I'm trying.
Okay, give her just a second to get this typed in. Is there any other questions or comments before we vote on just the adoption of the 0.2 miles section of the Old Milligan Highway? Yes, Commissioner Garland.
I know, I talked to Roger about this before, that it once thought City of Elizabeth might own that, or that was part of their road system. City of Elizabeth, and that was part of theirs at one time, or?
They left that section out.
They denied it.
Okay, I just didn't.
They might deny it, but I'm telling you right now, at one time they owned it. Again, they turned around and give it to the state turned around and give it back to the city. And the city turned around and give it to the county, and the county turned around and give it back to the city.
No wonder it's messed up.
That's exactly the way it happened.
Are we gonna rename the hot potato highway now?
If you can figure that out, we're good, Jay.
Are you ready, Ms. Quinn? All right, so the motion is just the adoption of that part of the roadway. And we have the motion and a second, so if there's any other questions, speak. If not, let's vote. All right, please reveal the vote. All right, motion to adopt the roadway has passed. But now, you understand we've got to suspend the rules next. Okay. Yes, Aaron Frazier.
I'll make a motion that we suspend the rules for this vote on the highway committee to appropriate $25,000 for funding of the road.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Aaron Frazier to suspend the rules, a second by Travis Hill. Any questions? All right, let's vote on the suspension of the rules since this did not go through budget committee. The second was from Travis Hill. All right, show us the vote. All right, the motion to suspend the rules is passed.
Back to me again.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I put it in the form of a motion that we appropriate $25,000 additional funding to the highway department from the county fund balance, outside fund balance.
All right, we'll take a second from Willie Campbell. Any discussion?
Roger, is that gonna be enough to cover it?
Yes.
Yes.
Asphalt's $83 now.
That is for general fund committee.
That's coming. So hurry.
The second was from Willie Campbell. Okay, let's vote. This vote is on the money, $25,000 to do the repairs. All right, please show us the vote. All right, motion passes.
That's all I have. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Blevins. All right, we will now hear from the Rules and Bylaws Committee. Chairman, pardon me? Yes, if you all need to. I was gonna try to just finish. Okay.
Skip me. Come back to me. It's not the last thing.
Your last thing. This is it.
I have a copy
No, he's not the last thing. We've got an introduction of someone and some other things.
Go for it.
You want me to go on?
Yes, please.
All right, Chairman Jenkins has requested that we go on, so it's still committee reports. Start with agriculture, Mark Tester.
kind of let most of the minutes reflect, but there's some personnel changes over there that the commission should all be aware of. First of all, our new director, Vicki Clark's place, is Miss Rachel Dean. Rachel, if you'll come up here and introduce yourself and tell the commission about yourself. And also, Lacey Young stated that she's resigning as of last meeting. So they've had a lot of personnel changes, and she'll fill you in. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Dean. I am the new county director of the extension office here, and I'll also be covering the family consumer sciences programs. I am a native of Kingsport, and that's where I live now. And I also went to school for both degrees at ETSU. So I'm an East Tennessee native. I love this area. I love the people. I'm really excited to get to work with everyone. We have had some personnel changes. Like it was just stated, Lacey Young did resign, so we'll have that 10-step program assistant position opening up soon. We're hoping to have that filled hopefully around July. We also have a 4-H program assistant position that will be coming open as well. And we have a vacant 4-H agent position that should be posted hopefully in June, and we're anticipating filling that by October. So we have had some changes, but we'll get some new faces in here, and we're really looking forward to getting those programs going, especially getting 4-H ready in time for everyone to go back into the schools. Got a lot of great programs going on. We're doing food preservation classes and a lot of other things as well. I'm excited about meeting people in the community. We've got a lot of things going on with our ag program with Kathleen, and Emily Barton is still going to handle 4-H camp and a lot of those other things going on for 4-H programs this summer. If you know anyone that wants to sign up for 4-H camp, please encourage them to do so, and that is open. You can sign up by coming by our office.
Are the new positions full-time, all of them, or?
Yes, they are all full-time.
Someone asked me that and I really wasn't sure.
Yes.
All of them were full-time.
Yes, the agent position will be an exempt position, and the 2 program assistant positions will be hourly positions.
But they're all full, I mean, not part-time.
Yes, they're all full-time and would have full
I just wanted to make
benefits.
sure.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Rachel, welcome to Carter County.
Thank you very
We're
much.
excited to have you. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
All right, are there any other committees that would like to bring us a report this evening? All right, yes, Dr. Ado.
Thank you, Chair Holdren. Just to bring the commission up to date, if you haven't been following in the Star of the Johnson City Press, we're on the final leg of prioritization of ARP funding. We have 2 projects to consider for June the 7th, and we will prioritize out and send those forward to financial management and budget. So we should be finished hopefully at our end of time with health and welfare on June 7th.
June the 7th, okay. Thank you for that update, because people were asking me, when some things might start to happen. All right, Commissioner Garland, did I also see that you might want to give a report?
Always ask Joy, and she provides plenty, so I'll just read off what she sent. Report that we've been busy checking with all our campgrounds and cabin rentals this month. Everyone's booked solid for the foreseeable future, which indicates to us that it will be a busy summer. She also says not to get the Omnium, the bike race that's coming up June 3rd through 5th. And they will be assisting with the farmer's market. They're bringing that back to downtown over here. That's supposed to start June 7th. And they'll meet on every Tuesday in Covered Bridge Park from 4 to 7 until August. They're excited about the partnership with them. That's all she had. Keep Carter County beautiful, I think, clean up this Saturday on Milligan Highway.
Okay, thank you. I had some people asking the other day where our farmer's market is, and I still thought it was at Farm Bureau, so that's good to know. It's at Covered Bridge Park. Tell me today again, Tuesdays, 4 to 7?
Yep. Yes. June starts June 7th and meet every Tuesday in Covered Bridge Park from 4 to 7.
All right, thank you.
Through August.
All right, Isaiah.
Yes, Madam Chair, I think there was an item that was accidentally overlooked between building and grounds and budget, and that would be the actual formal acceptance of the bid for the construction partners for the financial that was passed in building and grounds, sent to budget. The amendment was in, if I'm not mistaken, was actually in our packets today. We approved that amendment, but we haven't formally accepted that bid. So I think that we probably need to do that.
Okay, so are you making that motion?
Yes, I will make that motion to formally accept the bid for Construction Partners.
Second.
Second from Dr. Acuff. And that number again is 440,000 and something.
$440,400.
Okay, any questions on this? It was in our packet, so this is not an addition. It just didn't get on the agenda. Okay, if there's no questions, we'll vote on approval of the bid for the remodeling of the finance department.
The suspense is killing me.
Mark it.
Show us the vote before it goes away. All right, the motion has passed. We've got 22 yeses and 2 noes. Motion passes. Thank you, Isaiah, for remembering to do that. All right, any other committees that I haven't called that want to give an update this evening?
I'd like to say the Education Committee did not meet, but I can assure you we will be meeting next month and probably have several updates on projects that are upcoming. Is that pretty good?
I think they're meeting tonight actually on a workshop.
Yeah, oh, yes, and then the workshop is Thursday, and of course, the commission is invited also.
All right, I think Attorney Hart will address that in just a moment.
Being invited, yeah. May not happen, so it is scheduled, I'll put it to that way.
All right, any other committees? Last call. Yes, Gary Bailey.
On landfill, I'll go over something right here. We had Kim Ray out here from CTASC, and some members was here. Basically, she was talking about the expansion at the landfill or transfer station. That was there. I think she said we'll have to send out a RFQ or something, see what's going, and look at how this is going to go. Basically, it's around $2 million is what they're saying, and basically to look at, have to do some options of whether we want to transfer everything out or whether we want to keep going forward. But another note, today we had some people that actually viewed the meeting, and one guy was here today and actually went and viewed the landfill. And they are a company that just left Knoxville at theirs, and they're on the way to Myrtle Beach to look at theirs, and that's what they do, design, build, give updates. And Ms. Holden and Patty and some of the others in here does have business cards, and I'll get you some from them. That's what they specialize in. But on another note, the 820 compactor that we use at the demolition blowed its engine like a day or two ago. The engine is $37,000. It is diesel. Costs $4,200 to put it in, and whether we like to face it or not, the state of Tennessee requires them to have one of those. So we have a short time to get one. So temporarily, he is going to have to run a bulldozer with high tracks to use it. So question comes in at landfill, where do we come up with around $42,000, $43,000 to get him back up and going? Because that is a piece of required equipment. So, any questions?
How old is that piece of equipment?
I couldn't tell you. I think he said it still had some years left on it. It's not as old as the track hoe and some of the other stuff, but thing is, I mean, he is required to have one. So, I mean, somebody may have to look going forward at what they want to do for the next 2 or 3 years going forward.
I'll just get moved out your maintenance.
They've subbed that out. And to sub it out, now, and keep this in mind, the engine is $37,000. And that's to buy one, and that's us give them our engine so it can be rebuilt and sent back out. It's going to cost us around $22,000 for us to do it, and around $6,000 or $7,000 for the parts. And time to get it in there, so it's actually gonna be cheaper to buy one. Any questions other than that? And I'll get you some more information right here shortly. Try to email it to everybody. So this has just happened in the last few days. Just as soon as we get things going up there to get in the black, well, something else happens.
Gary, I got a question. It's related to the demolition site.
Yes.
Last month, the full commission approved for the testing and engineering recommendations.
Yes. To get somebody to
qualify the property of whether it can be used for or how much it is. Has that already been put in an RFP form or any?
We gotta have somebody to write that, and that was a guy that showed up today, has been at the landfill, looked at it, and we'll be getting back with us. Their company specializes in writing, build, designing, and overseeing that they're built, like a project manager for that. That's all they do is landfills.
If I'm not mistaken, and Attorney Holler, you can correct me, but that comes under professional services, the same as architects and engineering firms. And that's what that is to test to see if the property qualifies and meets environmental guidelines to be able to purchase it for the purpose of demolition site. So as far as putting an RFP for that professional service, that's
Right, that's what the HIMRAG came for, she develops those, from CTAS for nothing. I mean, so she's doing that, and that's what she's coming back with next month, is to develop so that's the first step in the process that she's doing.
I didn't want that to get away because that's the only thing out there right now at our landfill services that operates in the black to pay off the red to keep us balanced. And if we go out of that, your cost is gonna go totally in the red, and you're gonna have to haul off totally everything, demolition site and all.
My understanding from her, she'll get us some numbers and look at some of the stuff and some recommendations, but it's still gonna have to be some other company of, okay, designing and building.
Do all of that.
And that's where that guy today looks at it, and they specialize in landfills. And so,
The main important thing was that we qualify the land first, because in doing that and in their services, that tells us what kind of the topo of the land itself, and give us some idea of the cubics and the size that we can get out of that property, or whether it's advisable, the cost versus how much can be done.
from her, if I'm correct, the ones that was in that meeting, there's two options here. If we didn't want to go with the land, we have to build a big enough transfer station to transfer it out, or not do the transfer. It's just a household garbage. So there's actually like 2 or 3 different options we can go at it. That's where the money's going to come in. What does this body want to keep going forward? Are we going to transfer household trash, which we have to, but are we going to transfer demolition? Or are we going to stop demolition? Or are we going to try to build on the land? There's 3 or 4 options here until we get some actual numbers. We don't know which way to go.
Well, if you stop the demolition site, you're going in the hole right then.
I'm agreeing with you 100%. Demolition's where we're making our money.
Nothing out of the rest of it. Matter of fact, we operate in the red.
Mr. Von Cannon?
Commissioner Bailey, have you looked at any other sites other than the present operation?
Well, that's what we had to talk to Kim Ray about, and that's where some of these numbers are coming back. Basically, if this does fill up, do we want to build a transfer station there, back on the same place, and then go somewhere else, or do we just move the whole?
We can't afford another site, you're saying, because you'd have to have all kinds of testing.
Here's the problem right now.
Even starting a new landfill would be prohibitive almost.
The transfer station right now is in such a shape, that's gonna be the biggest thing from her recommendation, is get it fixed. On our own, we still have to transfer the trash out. So that's first priority, is are we gonna build a new one and keep transferring? And if we are we gonna build one big enough to do both? That's where this body will have to determine where they wanna go in the future.
I recently drove to a potential site. And before I got home, I had a telephone call advising me that the citizens of that area would never stand for a landfill. And I swear to you, I never spoke to anybody. They just saw my car, I guess, with my signs on it.
Can I,
But regardless, the transfer station has to be repaired.
Yes.
I mean, whatever we do, it is in bad
Yes.
shape. And it's, I mean, that's something that
and that's,
whatever we do has to be.
that's even from her quick, so that's the number she's trying to get is how or what and where and when and how are we gonna do the transfer station first? Are we gonna build one and keep the other one up and change it to demolition, or, are we just gonna just do
The
demolition and
the
transfer?
existing transfer station was designed, looking at the design of and its use, it was designed for an average of 70 tons of trash per day. And we are 2.5 times more than that per day.
Right now,
Over the years, your concrete, where they scrape it off into the truck, just think about it. It has been scraped so many times, you're going into the steel rebar. But then you look at the transfer station itself is nothing but I-beam construction with steel skin. The steel skin on the thing has deteriorated to the point that the fasteners, it's rusted out where it's fallen off. And there is no way that if you came back in and updated it, you would have to take the I-beam, you'd have to take it all the way down and rebuild. So it'd be less expensive if you went new rather than try to patch out
even
these trash.
from her, it's build a new one. Her recommendation is basically we're gonna have to build a new one, then after it's running, decide to fix that one. Mr. Jenkins.
Sounds like more questions than answers, and it sounds like committee work to me, not.
But we're running out of time.
Is there any action?
We get this back from her and get this with that company.
We're just sitting here talking in circles because we don't have no answers right now.
She's not giving us her recommendation.
She's not giving.
I know. What do we do?
My biggest question right now is what we're gonna do for Benny with a engine. We can come up with 37 now, fund balance, that's fine. If we can't, just go to budget, figure out where we're gonna get it. But right now, he is down, and that is required from the state of Tennessee.
I'll make a motion and we give it to him.
We have a motion by Ms. McCamey that we pull it out.
Suspend the rules.
We have to suspend the rules.
I'll make a motion, we suspend the rules.
Okay, will you repeat what the cost was again?
A new one is 37,000 plus to get our old one, and they want 42 to put it in, so it'll be 42,000 would cover all of it.
42,000 or 4,200 to install?
4,200 to put it in.
Okay. Commissioner Garland.
Did you say there was an option for a dozer or something like that, like a temporary deal?
He is gonna have to rent a dozer, which I think he's trying to take that out of his own fund and rent it to get it going until this is fixed. But the state will not let him keep using the dozer. It has to be.
Will that get us to next month's budget? Or,
I'm almost positive he's gotta order the engine the faster, and they're saying something like 8 to 10 weeks out. So if we wait another month, everything seems to work. Hurry up and wait.
You got a motion on the floor.
There is a motion, I didn't call for a second because I wanted you all to hear the cost, because I figured that might affect your vote on the motion to suspend. So the motion to suspend was made by Robert McCamey. Is there a second?
Second.
Aaron Fraser, was that a second? All right, let's go with a second by Aaron Fraser. Any other discussion for a motion to suspend the rules? All right, let's vote on suspension of rules.
Yeah, we can suspend.
This is new.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gary, I didn't notice that you voted. Please reveal the vote. All right, so we have 21 yes, 3 no. The motion passes to suspend the rules. Okay, Daniel McIntyre.
Did we not say months ago that we weren't gonna bring something to the table to vote on it? Fly by night deal. I know this, we're saying this has to be done, but you said earlier that Benny could get through. Either you can or you can't, but I just, again, I'll say it again, I said it months ago, don't feel comfortable voting on something I don't have all the information. I'm sorry.
On this part, I think it's just for the dozer's engine, and that's, the thing is, we wait 6 more weeks, the price gonna go up, or is it gonna go down, or even wait?
Okay, Travis Hill.
Does this not require quotes for some amount of money?
You do.
Can we not still set it aside and get the quotes?
Do a certain amount, can't you?
I mean, it's over 25,000.
Well, the thing is, I think that going in, I think it's gonna be a sole source provider anyway. So, I get all the quotes they want, it's gonna come from.
Well, if it's a sole source, that's different, but I mean, if it's not, it's above the bid threshold.
I'll try to find out, but, you know, we not.
Unless it qualifies as an emergency purchase, and that's the only other way to circumvent the bid requirements.
All right, I'm gonna say, Commissioner Bailey, please try to come to a decision, and we're gonna take a break so that you can do that. And, Commission will come back in 10 minutes and pick this up. Thank you.
I'm absolutely glad.
All right, we're gonna pick up where we left off. Landfill Chairman Gary Bailey has the floor.
Hey, that's nice. All right, so, I've talked to Mr. Harden, and if it falls under emergency, we don't have to go that route. The problem is, we would have to get documentation from state that it is required, I guess, am I correct? From Beanie, if I can, or from the state to see that, but again, if he pulls it, and then we have to wait another month to pull the money, so, Frazier.
I was just gonna say, the motion to suspend the rules passed, correct? Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we set aside up to, not to exceed $42,000 pending emergency authorization requirement from the state to purchase an engine for the compactor at the landfill.
Second.
Okay, second by Robin McCamey. Aaron, I'm quite sure that Ms. Quinn's gonna need you to restate that motion because it had a lot of important parts to it, so. Will you go ahead and, are you ready for him to repeat it?
To set aside $42,000 pending documentation from the state for emergency requirements. Or set aside $42,000 in a reserve account pending the state's requirement or the state's documentation that it is an emergency. It sounded so much better the first time.
It did, it sounded really good the first time. And you're leaving out the words up to because you said up to the first time. Okay.
Pending the state's documentation for emergency use and necessity of the whatever. And also how much or whatever. Yeah, that's a legal term, by the way, isn't it, John? Up to $42,000 pending the state's documentation that states this is a requirement that we have it. What is the unassigned fund balance?
Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation is the one that's required.
Right. My question was, what's it going to cost him to rent the dozer?
He's still checking on that to see, it depends on how long, or they leased it by the hour or by the month, or
Operational hour. So we could be looking at large chunks of change if we wait.
the longer we wait, the more it's costing.
Your number's like $42,000 and some change.
It was
41,200.
I believe.
Just making sure.
Thanks, I think.
200's change, yeah.
You did it, Ms. Quinn.
Maybe Shirley can get it.
And I need to let you all know, they are still trying to get that. That's the quote they sent in, if they can get their hands on it being shipped in here. So there is a lot with this, trying to make this work.
Okay, Ms. Quinn, when you're ready, will you show that motion up on the screen? Can you show the motion up on the screen the way you have it written?
I don't have it written in that where you. Hold on. Okay.
What's Benny got in his unassigned fund balance to pay for the rental on the dozer? That could end up costing more than the engine going out.
Unassigned fund balance.
Yes, ma'am. Unassigned fund balance.
General unassigned.
Yeah, general unassigned fund balance. I don't think they've got enough in the landfill to cover it. Tack on for the purchase of a replacement engine for the compactor. That was the only thing that I forgot.
So what exactly?
Did you say compactor?
For the replacement engine. For the purchase of a replacement engine.
He just texted me and said the fastest he can get an engine if he gets it ordered is 7 to 14 weeks. They are being built on demand.
Ouch.
All right. Eric, does the motion look correct to you now? All right, everyone reading it on the screen, this is what we are in discussion for. We do have a motion and a second. Is there any other question? Okay, let's vote on this motion. Please show the vote. Okay, you have 23 yes, 1 no, motion passes. All right, thank you.
One other thing, if he doesn't have the money in his fund balance to cover the rental on the dozer, what are we gonna do?
We don't need the dozer until we get to park, right? So we've got time to.
While it's down, we're gonna have to use the dozer in its place.
Okay.
So that's a next month question.
All right, Mr. Jenkins, do you want to do your rules and bylaws committee?
Yeah, it's just one motion. It's a motion to adopt a policy to add to the county commission rules and procedures that presentations to the full county commission shall not exceed 10 minutes in length unless the presenter is granted additional time by the chairperson.
Second.
I'm sorry, who was that second? Julie, seconded the motion. Julie Gwynn. All right, is there discussion on this motion?
Is this people presenting and commissioners included?
I can add commissioners onto it.
Presentation and then we'll have to talk 30 minutes, whatever.
I said, I would happy to add on there to that.
It's happened.
Josh, you have almost a smile on your face that we're about to make a terrible mistake.
I would think that elected commissioners who properly have the floor should be able to speak on topics that are germane to the meeting for as long as necessary. I mean, that's my opinion. Obviously, at any point, the chairman could make some decision, or the commissioners could call for some point of order or some procedural thing if someone is not speaking on topics that are germane to the meeting or the agenda. I would think it'd be a little inappropriate to restrict commissioners from speaking in a meeting if they won't speak.
I'm not saying not being able to speak.
Right, just
I'm talking about-
cut the length. I understand.
That just was my question.
I mean, we can keep the motion as is, that's fine.
Is this being directed like towards the communications presentation where it took long, or what's really goal for this?
It's granted more time. If the chairperson sees more time, she gets to see the stuff before the presentation. If she thinks it needs more time, that's fine. But we get presenters all the time, and if they can't make their point in 10 minutes, well, I understand. If the insurance company came and wanted to talk to us, I understand that takes time. That, again, would fall on the chairperson to make that decision.
Randall's trying to save us from death by PowerPoint, I think, is his goal.
Death from PowerPoint, absolutely.
Talking about the public too.
Public's already limited to
At
5 minutes.
Let's don't be adding.
And so I know we've had different departments, outside agencies, different people have come in and though asked to keep it short, some have not. So I asked Randall's committee to look at this and see if they wanted to write a policy that limits it so that, you know, it's not just me asking them to, but we actually have a policy in place requiring them to. It's up to you. Please vote as you want to, by all means. If you don't approve of this, please vote no. Anybody else have a question? Okay, so the last thing Randall said was the motion is gonna remain as it was written in your packet. So we are voting on it as written in your packet right now. Please show the vote. Okay, motion passes 21-3. All right, thank you, Rules and Bylaws Committee. Is there another committee that wants to update their work tonight? All right, before we hear from our county attorney, I'm going to give our finance director, Carolyn Watson, the floor. And the only thing I'm asking her to address is the insurance documents you found on your table tonight. This is pretty much a done deal. It's not up for a vote. That's why I allowed it to be placed on your table tonight instead of being in your packet. And I just want her to just make a brief statement about it.
So the information that you have in front of you is from the insurance company. Everything has been okayed at this point. We came in at a 13% increase. That was the best that we could do under the circumstances. Also letting you know that we are asking employees to do one-on-one conferences with the insurance representatives this year to make sure that everybody's aware of the level of benefits that they have, what their options are. And so they are going to be meeting with each individual employee. We just felt like that was a good opportunity for people to understand the level of benefits they have and hopefully get them more engaged in some of the wellness programs. And hopefully that will increase our claims experience for the next year.
If you have a question pertaining to insurance, you may ask the finance director at this time. All right, let's move on to the county attorney report. Thank you, Ms. Watson.
As usual, my report will be submitted for the minutes and it'll be a written report there. Just as far as litigation goes, I usually update you. Right now, it's the litter cases that continue to be a priority. And we had here before the other day, just last week, had 5 active cases that were heard that day. Out of those, 2 of them were actually in compliance, so those were fixed and remedied. And the 3 that weren't, one of them went to jail that day, and the 2 that did show up, arrest warrants were issued for them to go to jail. So they're taking these seriously to pay up to the litter violation. So those are ongoing. There'll be more next month. And that's just the update on litigation. Luckily, there's no new litigation this month against the county, and the rest of my stuff will be in there as usual, and I'll answer the questions you have.
Will you please address the education workshop on Thursday?
Well, I was a little bit in the dark about that until you said it. I wasn't sure what the outcome of that was or when they're having it. But I was asked the other day before their meeting, and I understood when I was at the budget committee that they were going to come to a county meeting, a county advertised budget hearing or budget meeting. And it turned out to be that wasn't the plan. They were having a meeting of their own, a Carter County Board of Education workshop, and invited the commissioners to come. And my opinion on that I gave via email was certainly that commissioners can come, just like any other member of the public can come to those meetings. my concern was with commissioners deliberating on a decision in a meeting, not of the commission, but another body's meeting, that they would vote on again later in a county commission meeting. In my opinion, the proper method to do that is if the Board of Education has a request for the budget committee, the full commission, they would come to that committee's advertised meeting and handle that business there. So it can be fully discussed and voted on by the appropriate body. Trouble can come from deliberating on decisions outside of the advertised meeting for that body. The public, in my opinion, wasn't on notice that the Carter County Commission was going to discuss funding options or what they would do at that meeting, that was Board of Education meeting. So in my opinion, the safest thing to do is advertise a county meeting, whether it's budget committee or full commission, where the commissioners can fully discuss and deliberate on those issues in the public meeting. And I don't know what was done with this meeting, if it was advertised separately, I have no idea, but if it's another meeting of the Board of Education, it's the same scenario. There's no problem at all with coming, listen, gain information, whatever that you want to get out of the meeting. I would just caution county commissioners from actively deliberating and discussing matters outside of the meeting of that body.
I'm sorry, but I just want to make sure I understand. They cannot, even if we come and listen or whatever, as county commissioners or as citizens or whatever, they cannot ask us, can you all do this or do that or whatever in this meeting on Thursday?
I can't tell them what to do, but I would certainly advise you all
Well,
not to participate in that
Right.
discussion. I mean, they can fully discuss their issues and what they're, thinking, what their, proposed plans are, but a commissioner couldn't commit to anything in
Or
that.
have to come back to this meeting
Correct. I think,
next month or budget or whatever.
everybody would need to present in our meetings
Right.
for that action.
'Cause I think there's some confusion on that.
I thought I explained it pretty clear, but I know all y'all
I
didn't.
meant, not you now, I meant.
Right, I mean, but the last time, I sent an email in response to the question, and I think that email got forwarded to the director of schools, and I thought it was pretty clear, but maybe that's just me. But like I said, I can't tell you, you are certainly free to go to the meeting and listen. Everybody should. I mean, they're talking about building a new school, so that's no problem. I just would caution you against discussing things that you're gonna vote on later in a different meeting.
All right, any questions on any topic for the county attorney? Thank you for addressing that, Attorney Harden. And I did only forward your email to the director of schools, so these guys have not seen it, but I think it's pretty clear tonight, what our caution is from our attorney. So it is now time for any commissioner comments. Yes, Isaiah Grindstaff.
I'm sorry, Lawson, you're just gonna have to wait. We were given a copy of the additions and deletions of the tax rolls. Typically, we vote to approve them.
We are gonna do that, Commissioner Grindstaff, but because it was not given to you in your packet, we did not feel it was appropriate to vote this evening. So if you all would please hang on to the additions to the tax rolls, that will be on the agenda for June. We will be voting on it then. And the clerk's office had already printed the paper, so if y'all don't mind keeping it till next month, and that's when we'll vote on that whole. Thank you. Who else has a comment or question? Yes, Daniel.
I just want to thank everyone for the phone calls, texts, during Brody's sickness. I really appreciate it. My family really appreciate it. I know Brody does as well. So just thank you.
Yes, Gary Bailey.
All right, I'm texting Benny, and he says that the requirement is in the paperwork that requires them and the permit to operate. And he should be back tomorrow and we'll try to get that, so I'll get that to you or forward it or wherever. But he said he would call TEDEC, which is Environmental Conservation, and get a copy of it sent to him and get it to me, and I'll get it to you all, but it is required to have it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, the floor is open for adjournment. Yes, Austin James.
Just a minute.
So Austin James, you're making a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Okay. Who's the second? Taylor. All right, second by Randall Jenkins. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Have a great evening, everybody.
It's at the Woodsboro.
There you go.